What's going on, guys? This is Ross. I'm going to be doing a quick test of Ethan's boss encounter from 18. I'm probably not going to be no-hitting it because it is very, very challenging. So this is just a bit of a backlog, just to demonstrate an early build of this, just to give you guys a show to see that how I went about making this. I'm not exactly sure 100% with how I want to do this, but here's the very early build. As you can see, the white lines are very nice, very shitty. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to have it when oh god, it's doing the auto raise thing. Alright, yeah, do not want to snap grid, auto raise, there we go. Turning that shit off makes it so much easier. And of course that's the problem, you can get him stuck. Yeah, usually if you just let go, he gets himself unstuck. Sometimes not though. Ah, jeez. You want to be careful about that. Please get yourself unstuck. Thank you. It's not perfect. It's definitely a work in progress thing. If we ever want to do bosses like this again in the future, we're probably going to have it a little bit more down. I just realized I'm not actually signed in, son of a bitch. Here, I'm going to block the screen while I sign into YouTube. Oh, well, apparently that didn't want to mute the screen. Come on. There you go. I'll do it. So I guess while I'm typing this, and I can talk about the overall process of making Ethan's boss fight. Ethan's was the very first I made of the four. His, I had an understanding, mostly of how I wanted to do his fight. Apparently I cannot type and talk at the same time. There we go. I didn't exactly have an understanding of how I wanted to do his fight. Or, no, I did have an understanding of how I wanted... Fuck, I can't talk. I had an understanding of how I wanted to do his fight as compared to me, Zuper, and Jaden's. Specifically that my fight sort of transformed into an aquatic battle. Zuper's transformed into... Well, even at this point, I don't 100% know what I want to do with this battle, but you get the sort of idea behind it, how it's just the battle against the Devourer of Gods. And Jaden's idea, it was just skeletons. Shit that was going to make fun of his appearance as an edgelord in campaigns. It's that basic idea, but Ethan's always had an idea of what I wanted to do. If I was to give a one word to each of our battles, specifically to Ethan's, I would give the idea of cluttered. I would give the idea of... It was supposed to be madcap, insane, constant noise, constant attacks. I think Ethan's so far is the hardest. I know I've only made Ethan's, but I had the intention of making his the hardest. Not for any reason, other than it would just be funny if his was just madcap and insane. It fits with his characterization, so... Not Ethan himself, but the characterization of Ethan's... I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking right now, and I'm just going to give Ethan's turn its go. So this should be just about the final version of Ethan's campaign. It's not final. There are definitely things to edit in. I have to edit in the song name, bottom left corner. I have to edit in certain other things like when to go off the board, because there is a part of the fight where you do have to go off the board, as you guys probably have already seen. If you're seeing this video, I assume we've already done Boss 1. These will probably be going up after that, or at least they'll be privated until then. Alright, let's go. Ethan's turn. This is even gonna load. Here we go. Alright, so you want to start by standing over here. Oh god, this is going to be so loud. Alright. So you want to start by standing over here. And down. This part's hard. Mostly because of that one last bit at the end. Very small area. Oh shit. This one you want to run to the far left, far right, and over here. speed stamping is not that bad.
Make it fly!
Being hammed.
Well, Seymour, I made it, despite your directions.
Ah, Superintendent Chalmers, welcome.
I can't remember if they come from the top or the bottom. I think they come from the bottom. No, they come from the top. Okay, there we go. Right here. And down. There we go. Not bad. Ba-boom. I think you do want to angle it more like this so you have a better chance of dodging the attacks, but oh well. Alright, now it's going to be Komoto Armar-chan. Okay, this one's not bad. Easy peasy. Dodge to the left. Dodge to the right. And the Sayori spin. Ah, Jesus Christ. Off the board. Back on the board. Dodge to the left. Down. Ah, shit. I fucked up. Well, there you go. You get the idea. You want to hang down there, let the foot go up, and then dodge out.
Oh no, that's the Skinner Burger.
Now, this attack, I have no idea what to do.
Yes.
This attack is utterly fucked.
Despite the fact they are obviously grilled.
Nope. I already got hit. This attack is so fucking hard. This is definitely the hardest part. This is the hardest part. By far. Ah, Jesus Christ. Stop. Stop. And I'm stuck. Son of a bitch. Nope. Nope. No. 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 You just gotta stand and take it. Nope. I went off the board. Alrighty, that's a loss, but oh well. There you go. There's Ethan's attacks, mostly a no-hit. It's the general idea of how to dodge most of his shit. Alright. So that is an early build. There are definitely pieces that are going to be added that weren't added in the in this version that will be added into the final. Overall, I think I did a pretty alright job with Ethan's. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. There's certain aspects of it that I think should be changed. I think it is a pretty easy fight when you know what's coming. From my perspective, it'll be easy. From Ethan's, it'll probably be a lot harder. I don't know at this point. Again, I haven't done the campaign at this point. This is an early build. But what I can say is I'm going to try and get these videos out so you guys can have fun playing around with these on your own time. And who knows, maybe we'll actually do a little bit more of this in the future. I'm not sure if I could get any of you three to actually want to make these. I'm sure we'll talk about that when the actual campaign rolls around, if you wanted to make your own variants of these. I know Jaden probably won't. The amount of editing that went into this means that it's probably too much for Jaden to really bother or care with. Zuper might. Zuper may. I think, though, Ethan is the most likely. If he was going to make his own, he's done animations and editing on his own time. Really isn't that hard. Alright. So how about we replay it, and I'll go over some of the elements of each of the attacks. I'm going to mute the volume a lot. So, let's go over the first attack here. I haven't really come up with names for most of these. The only one I came up with the name for is the Sayonara Spin, or whatever the fuck it was called. I think that's what it was. So these are the Blend S girls, and the two guys. I don't know all of their names. What I do know is they are in Roiji Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, that color. Which bothered the shit out of me. I'm sure it'll bother Ethan, because the surprise girl is green in the intro, but because of how she appears on the Roiji Biv scale, she unfortunately has to be blue. So, yep, there we go. And there's the fire. That's going to be the first introduction, probably, of burning characters. That is used through a program called OE Cake. I discovered OE Cake through Vine Sauce, Vinny. He did a stream on it rather recently. Let me just pull up OE Cake, actually, so you guys can take a little peek at it. I'm going to pull it up on... I probably won't have to go through this much effort with Zuper, Jaden's, and mine. This is just because this is the very first one. I might as well give you guys a little outlook into it. Alright, so there's OE Cake. Now, how this works is in OE Cake, you basically get a nice little sandbox to dick around with. Like right there, there's some fuel, then you make it fire, and there you go, it burns the fuel. Basically, that's the best way I can describe it, right? So what I did was I grabbed the characters and just sort of dropped them in. Here, I'll give you an example. I'll throw in, I don't know, what's a good character? Let's throw in Dabbing Sayori. Oh, geez, no, she's fire. No. We're going to throw in Dabbing Sayori as fuel. She bounces all over the place. Now, what I did was I made the characters into fuel by dragging and dropping them into OE Cake. Then using the fire icon to burn them, and they crumble like so. Hopefully, Zuper has not seen that stream. I don't know if he regularly, religiously watches Vinny, so he might not know what that's from. I feel like it would be a funnier joke if they don't know what it's from beforehand, if you guys don't know. I'm sure Ethan and Jaden probably won't know what it's from, so it'll come as a surprise to them. I'm not so sure about Zuper. Zuper does know where it comes from. He's almost certainly going to point it out. In fact, I bet money that he will point it out. Maybe it won't ruin the joke. I'm not sure if he'll point it out during the fight or after. The fight's very loud, so he might not even be able to get in the word. But there are a couple instances where OE Cake is used. I'm planning to do the fire drop attack for Jaden's fight. That will be the actual first introduction of OE Cake, although that will not demonstrate actual character burnings. It'll just be like dropping fire from the rectangles in the sky. You'll see the attack and you'll know what I'm talking about. So they burn. I'm just going to let it play out. I threw in a nice crowd screaming noise. And now we have our first actual attack, which is Umaru-chan. Sort of. This is derivative of a GIF that I found online of Umaru-chan. I was looking for GIFs to use as the first form of attacks. Here it is, right here. So she shoots out, launches her tongue, and drinks the cola. Yeah, because cola is the taste of the devil. Now, what I did was I took Umaru and had the mouth open and gave it like a charge attack where it goes through the Roy G. Biv colors. If you notice, there's a theme of rainbow going on with Ethan's phase, just to sort of give it its own stylization. I went for a rainbow with Ethan. They do the charge, and then they launch out the tongue. It goes to the edge of the screen, or just about the edge of the screen. The way you're supposed to dodge this attack is you're supposed to dodge up for him, go to the far right corner, and then just as his tongue is about halfway, it'll disappear. This guy will, and you dodge down. It's definitely going to be tricky for Ethan to dodge that on his first go-around, but not impossible. Then this one is actually a pretty easy attack to dodge. I purposely made it so it was middle, left, so you could easily see where the tongue's coming from. Then you're wondering, oh shit, where's it coming from? And then you see up, it's right next to Natsuki and Sayori. It's going to launch down his tongue, so he'll know to get like in between them. Which puts him in a pretty prime position to see what's coming next. He sees a couple Sayoris coming from the top screen. It'll force him down towards the bottom. He'll be like, oh, some hanging Sayoris. Then one comes from the bottom, and he'll know to dodge up. It's basically a bone wave from Undertale. Also, I'm very impressed I made very little Undertale references. Apart from the noises and the overall aesthetic, I did not throw in Sans, Papyrus, I didn't throw in Undyne, Asgore, Toriel, any of those people. It's all my own original content, and by original content I mean just shit I found on the web that I know will troll the shit out of Ethan. This attack right here is actually scripted. Let's go back for a minute so I can demonstrate this. So what's going to happen here is there's going to be 3 top Sayoris, 1 bottom Sayori, another 2 top Sayoris, 1 bottom, and 1 top. Now that was all created as a singular attack. I wish I could demonstrate it, but I can kind of demonstrate it. But basically, all you need to know is that was one of the only scripted Sayori fights, or patterns, I guess we should say. That's a better word for it. The pattern repeats, although this time it's flipped. So it's going to be 3 bottom, 2 like top, bottom, bottom, top, bottom. I feel like that's a good way to introduce the Sayori wave, as I called it. Later on in the fight, I create a single variant of the Sayori wave where it's just one Sayori going across the screen, and that gave me more freedom to make different Sayori patterns. I actually made this one first with the multi-Sayori, and then I realized, it's going to be pretty boring if it's always the same Sayori pattern. So I had to recreate another Sayori pattern where it's just one going across the screen. And by doing that, I could play around with Camtasia's flipping the Y and the X axis to sort of give new variants of how the Sayori goes across the screen. I never wanted to go diagonally with this attack. I made some thought. I put some thought into the idea, but I decided ultimately it'd be more sensical if their hanging rope was from the bars that you're supposed to dodge above and down. It just makes more sense. If it came sideways, it wouldn't make sense. The rope would be hanging from basically nothing, unless I added in some white bars. But then you could just go through the white bars and it just wouldn't look good. At this point, you get the other Umaru attack, which is her dashing across the screen. It's pretty easy to dodge this attack. You basically just have to dodge up. Then you can pretty much sit towards the bottom. And then she comes from the 4 corners. Shifted on the y-axis, comes from those corners. Shifted again, and then they come from those corners. Then we get to see all the dabbing characters. Now, I'm going to try my best to stop on the dabbing characters. Let's give this a try. This is going to be hard. They come out at 2 frames each. Alright, let the Umars go across the screen. Let's give this a try. So, we have, as you just saw, the Girls Last Tour girls. Here you have Nico and Sayori. You have Dio and Squidward you just barely got to see. Oh my god, it goes even too fast for 25% speed. Ah, shit, too far. It's over in less than a second. Alright, Girls Last Tour, Sayori, Nico, Dio and Squidward, which is also Joseph. Barely get to catch that one. It stops before it even goes. That's mostly because the tablet on tabletop, unfortunately, can only run at 360p, and it stops slowly, so you probably won't be able to see all of them. It tells you later on who all the characters were that appeared. You can barely see it. Alright, well, we got one of them. That's a guy from Danganronpa, and I believe the Danganronpa guy was right next to Waluigi. And then it ends off with... well, you know what? It ends off with Nichijou. But I'm going to scroll forward. Yeah, here we go. I actually got that pretty lucky, yeah. Chito and Yuri, Sayonara and Nico, Dio and Joward, it's your boy Guzma and Waluigi. Oh, it's Waluigi and Guzma, okay. 2 unmentionables. I forget who the other girl was, and the guy from Danganronpa. I forget who the other girl is. It might be nobody. I think she has red hair. Shit, what's she from? Oh, no, she's from Helvetica. Not Helvetica. From The Angel Show. Ethan watches, I think. And then, of course, the Nichijou characters. It goes across the screen. That's too fast for good old tabletop to handle. So I'm just going to go like normal. See who comes next. Alright, keep going. Goes through all the characters. Then we get the Loogie Stomp. I wanted to go find the sound effects for when Mom stomps her foot in Binding of Isaac. I was not able to find the majority of it. I was able to find some sound effects. The sound effects in that game are very noticeable. You can tell where they come from when you hear the sound effects. Like the fly buzzing, it's like, oh, that's the Binding of Isaac fly buzzing. You can tell the Isaac, and when she slams her foot, like it's very memorable noise. However, no one seems to want to put the sound effects of Binding of Isaac online, and I'm not sure why. Very few instances of it. They're in like separate videos. There's like 32 sound effects in Binding of Isaac. This is the one video I found. I was able to find the Isaac, and she slams her foot down. I was not able to find her actual leg slamming sound effect. I wasn't able to find any green screens of the leg slamming, so I had to basically create my own through a PNG. Looks pretty stupid, but I'm overall happy with how it turned out. There are 2 slams. There's the Lukey, which is sort of based on the Isaac. And there's the Isaac, which in here is the Lukey. It works overall. If it's the long-winded Lukey, then it's her left foot. If it's the Lukey, then it's her right foot, as you can see here. See? Apparently both her feet are very similar to each other, just flipped, of course. And, of course, there's the Make It 5 from the classic SpongeBob episode Shanghaied. And Did You Know Your Mom Is an Octopus, where she launches out 5 feet instead of 8, which, you know, I guess I could have launched out 5 feet. There are 2 ways you can definitely dodge this attack. You could dodge up there, there. Although I guess there's 4. You could dodge it over there and over there. I'm not sure how Ethan's going to do at this part. I'm sure he'll be fine. You can see where the arrows go. Then, of course, steamed hams. Now, I have an idea for this part in the fight where I'm going to place like a box here that says safe. And the idea behind that is there's going to be like a couple boxes that appear throughout the fight. There's one that says safe, one that says you're able to go out of bounds, which would basically mean during that other fight with the Sayori wave, you're able to go, or not Sayori wave, the Sayori spin. Sayonara spin, shit. We're able to go off the tablet, and that's the only way to really dodge the attack. Here it's going to say safe, though, and that means you can touch whatever you want. The idea behind that is, I think it would be kind of stupid if you took damage from steamed hams.
Well, Seymour, I made
Yeah.
it.
Nathan Ellis is the person who posted the video, steamed hams, but I green screened the entire thing. I think that's what it's called, or something similar to that. If you search up steamed hams green screen, you'll find Nathan Ellis's video. Special thanks to him, absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful video that I was able to use through Camtasia. It took me a long time to figure out how to green screen through Camtasia. I think it was about like 4 years ago before I finally realized you could do it. It's very nice. You basically don't even green screen. It just says remove a color, and you can remove the color of either the green. A lot of removing black in this part. And a lot of the attacks I had to remove black in the background. Sayori's come back in. I'll probably make the message say you're not safe anymore. Then it says QQQ, which does not mean kick in Japanese. I'm not sure what it means. Maybe like it's like another word for kawaii, like Q, like cute, something like that. I'm never gonna make that sound again. And I put the little message stand about here. This is a dick move. It's an absolute dick move. This is like one of the most unfair parts of the fight. But it's funny. And it says punch does not mean punch in Japanese, followed by some punching sound effects that are a little off sound base. So I love how that basically lagged because of glorious tabletop. If you play it constantly throughout, it doesn't seem to lag. It's just if you keep pausing and unpausing, it skips parts. So hopefully when we do the multiplayer, it shouldn't fail on me. This is through single player, and it runs fine enough. I'm happy enough with how it runs where it's not annoying. And you get this attack, which is also utter bullshit. You have to see the attacks coming in. You have to dodge up here. That one's probably not going to hit you. This one very realistically can. Launches the tongues out. You dodge about there. Then Umaro's going to come flying in. This gives you even less time than the other attack. You dodge down. There's a lot of dodging down. Let's see it actually in action. Q, punch, punch, punch. Attack. And you dodge down. Look how little time that gives you. Oh my god, it's so good. It's like about there. You have to dodge down. It's utter horseshit. I love it. Then, of course, we get Filthy Frank coming in telling us it's time to stop. This is one of the mistakes I made, unfortunately, when editing this. That is basically uncorrectable unless I want to re-add Filthy Frank, which I guess I could. It says break time over. In what order did the dabbing characters appear before Lugi's mama's attack? Look at this screen. You'll actually be able to see it. You can see him actually sitting behind the boxes. You can kind of see like an outline of boxes. These were originally supposed to be black, and they were. And he was standing in front of the boxes just sort of as a troll to block out some of the answers. And it was kind of funny because you could definitely read them. You got the idea of what they were. But when editing this, it crashed constantly. So what I had to keep doing is rendering out each part of the fight in pieces. And in doing so, there were instances where when you rendered it through Camtasia, it doesn't give you like a blank PNG, because that's not how it works. It's an MP4. So it renders the background as black, which means if you remove the color being black, in this case, it removed the text boxes, which were black. Also, because of layering issues, our good old buddy Filthy Frank got blocked by the invisible text boxes. So there's really nothing I can do about that. It's kind of unfortunate, but at least you get to hear his dialogue, and it's a little hard to notice. I mean, it's not hard for me to notice. I see it every single fucking time. So Filthy Frank is just talking about where your parents are in the background. And anyway, here's the actual quiz question itself. Let's talk about the quiz questions. So Cheetos, Yuri, Prawn, Sayonara, Nico Bellic, Dio, and Joe Word, Ya Boy, and Wah, two unmentionables, and Nietzsche Joint. Just a bunch of really shitty memes all together. That is the actual very clear answer. The only reason you wouldn't be able to get this right is if Ethan picks C and is actually able to read all that, or if he's just like panicking and he doesn't pick A in time. Soda, OJ, Purple Stuff, and Sunny Delight is the obvious Nostalgia Critic reference that me and Super make every once in a while. Todo Kite Setsuna Saniwa is Snow Halation, which breaks into Omaramo Moshinderu, which is, of course, from Fist of the North Star. Although a lot of people use it for edgelords when they teleport behind you, kid. Nico is a shit tier. I misspelled Nico on purpose. I swear I did. Yeah. Spelled Nico on purpose. It's a shit tier. Unless I pick this one, which is objectively wrong, but I'll pick it to protect her recognition. So, there you go. That's the quiz questions. Of course, you jump up to A, but you can pick C, I guess, if you want. Take a damage on that. That was a freebie, followed by the explosions that say wrong, wrong, and wrong, but good job with the classic cat face. At this point, Umaru comes in and talks about sponsors. This episode of my channel is sponsored by or something like Collaboration Work or whatever the fuck she says. Grand the sponsor now and all that shit. Which also is, if you read this, you might be like hovering your character over it. And you're like, other person counts as hazards. Like, wait, what? Then all of a sudden, Umaru from the top screen is going to launch her tongue down through the text box and hit you if you're like hovering close to Umaru. The other one comes in, launches his. Glasses guy comes in. I'm not sure who that is. That might be her brother. I don't know. If you dodge up there, you're basically good and you won't get hit by anything. Then it's followed by the girl from Dragon Maid. I think it's from Dragon Maid. She does the oh sound effect, which apparently people think is kawaii no desu, or the fuck they think. And she comes from the other side. This part gave me a lot of rendering issues. I don't know, it's just the attack is a little bit intensive, I guess. Followed by my favorite attack, Sayonara Spin. I love this. It's so good. So, of course, you have the loading bar. You have the hammer throw guy from, of all things, WarioWare Touched on the DS, spinning Sayori with her hands flying in the improper direction for how wind should be. She is dabbing so hard, she is defying, like, wind. She's forcibly holding her hands the opposite direction of the wind. Unintentional, but funny anyway. Launches it, you see the wind gust up, it says complete, initiating Sayonara Hammer. This is probably the part where I'd have in the middle screen it says you can go off the tablet now. Which you're going to want to do, because after this, kaboom. Giant explosion, there is absolutely no way to dodge that. it takes over the entire screen. It's impossible to dodge unless you're off the tablet. Then you want to get back onto the tablet. I'm thinking at this part, with the Sayonara spin, I'm going to place a hazard here so that you have to dodge from the right side of the tablet. Then you have to jump back on. Although, maybe it makes more sense to have it from the left side so then you come back here. But then if you come from the left side, you have her coming onto the screen. And that's a really easy attack to dodge. Though I guess it's fair if you dodge Sayonara spin, which is a little bit tricky to dodge if you don't know it's coming. Then you have the little girl. I'm not sure exactly how much time I'm going to give you to get back onto the tablet, because of course this attack comes immediately after. But I'll think of that. Then of course you get this attack, which I really like. This is a fun final attack before the real final attack, which is utter bullshit. It's like a bit of a puzzle attack. You have Lugi's mom about to stomp, and you see that Sayori is coming flying in. Your goal is to basically loop up, loop in, before the shoe comes stomping down over here, because then the laser beam is going to come launching out and hit you. Then you have to sort of sit right here. Tongue comes out. The foot is a bit of a tease, because it's supposed to like make you jump. You see the arrow and you think it's going to go the whole length. It doesn't. It only goes about that far. Then you think you're safe if you actually manage to get through all this. Maybe you hit the shoe like I did. Then, of course, Umara comes flying in. At this point, you actually have a lot of time, if you've been paying attention, to just dodge up. And then you dodge it. Steam Handbrake. Again, I'll put the safe at the bottom of the corner so you don't actually get hit by Skinner and the Superintendent.
You know, these hamburgers are quite similar to the ones they have at Krusty Burger.
And at this point, characters disappear, and I recommend you stand here. The reason to stand there is you'll see. So I spawn in the 4 characters. I spawn in Umaru once again. I spawn in 02, Nico, and Fuko from Clanab. Now you might notice a bit of a mistake here. This is mistake number 2 Ross made. I threw in Umaru, and I actually meant to throw in Popopo. Popopo never appears because Ross fucked up and didn't realize, and put Popopo noises over Umaru-chan. Because he's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Popopo and Umaru, I guess, are very similar to each other when they're both colored in black and white. They're obviously grilled. Dodges waifus, like Skinner dodges the bill. The whole reason to stand there is because 02 is going to come flying in and smack you in the face. Or 02, sorry. It's going to come and smack you in the face. It's sort of a funny troll. However, it's also good to stand there so that when the 4 characters spawn, you don't have to worry about getting hit by their spawn. But what you're actually really supposed to do is dodge in waifus like Skinner dodges the bill. You have to dodge over here. And that gives you some space to dodge the waifus a little bit. Though maybe not. Maybe you should just dodge down. Then you have to like dodge up and oh my god. This attack is utter bullshit. The problem is, there kind of is a pattern to how they move, because they move like a basic screensaver icon a little bit, with a bunch of smacking objects into each other. It's hard. This is probably the hardest attack by far to dodge. Then once you get through that, fire jumps up. If you sit on the left side of the screen, none of them will hit you, and that is the end of Din's phase. There you go. So I guess other things I could really talk about, as I just mentioned, the characters are in black and white. Through, what the hell is it called? Pixlr, I want to say? Yeah, Pixlr. Through the online photo editor of Pixlr, there were a couple different ways I went about making the characters look like they belong from Undertale. Although I didn't really feel like I succeeded, I did create like a style. Of course, the boss himself of Viceland, I guess, would be his main name. I mean, Viceland is the main boss. But yeah, he's the only one that's really colored in, apart from like the characters that are colored in rainbow here. But if you look at Yuri, Monica, Natsuki, and Sayori, they're colored in. They actually change colors as they go through. And that's the 2 different ways. Like, they're a perfect way to demonstrate the 2 different ways. As you can see with Natsuki, Natsuki is currently colored in using the Pixlr tool Threshold, I believe it's called. Let me just open up a picture. Just so I can... Like, I can't display the picture, but I can at least give a concept to it. So, you got to go into Adjustment and click Threshold. And you can adjust the level. And this basically makes them black and white with a threshold of the color of how much black is into the picture versus how much white. This really gave a good aesthetic to most of the characters. However, it did create a little bit of fuzz here and there. A little bit of a sharpness issue. But as the characters dodge back towards the right, they go for the other way that I colored in some of the characters. As you can see through Monica, she is hit with the art poster. Now this is through filter and it's art poster. You inverse it and you drag the color to as far back as it goes, the amount to as far up as it goes, or something like that. And this will remove a lot of the color, and it almost does the converse of Threshold. So it's a good way to make all the characters have a little bit more black, have a little bit more white, and just give them a little bit of pop, which I felt worked very well. Created a fun style that is fun to observe. Fun, fun, fun. And that's it. That is all of Ethan's battle pretty much explained, apart from very few changes which I'm going to implement. You don't have to worry about any of those changes, though. They are not important. They are just, little changes that I have to do on my own time. And you guys will pretty much be able to see all the changes in the finalized version when I upload videos of the finalized versions for you guys to play with. But yeah, that's it. So, there you go. Good job, Loogie. You did some dodging like a champ. Should I do one more round? No, I'm not going to do one more round. Fuck that. Ethan's is the most bullshit of us four. Probably. I'm not sure. That might change when I do some commentaries for the other ones. But yeah, there you go. There is Ethan's video commentary for Boss 1. Thanks.